Hi Lee, I just wanted to respond to your podcast. At least I'm going to do maybe different videos for different points on it. But this one I want to cover the topic of specific about the style guide point. Okay, and I think that's a really key one. And I really would say to go watch my video about the whole thing about the low pricing dilemma, and that one, and I also talked about another one of the issue of the language industry not having people that are good in solution sales, and kind of not having people cross pollination from other industries into the local, into the kind of the whole language industry. People know how to sell solutions, and I think this is a critical thing. And the whole quality guide topic is within that. And I mentioned in there that I have sold a lot of so this kind of gets into the thing of um, every project I've sold, and I spent 2 years in solution sales, service sales of translation services. And I'm a linguist, and I've done the whole thing in all the different different roles across the whole kind of the workflow, um, and then came to sales. And I'm a lead auditor too. I stand with as an auditor, and I did that in the middle of this too. So I mean, this is like, I don't sacrifice quality at all, and I will get rid of people, in the workflow and replace them with other people and all that. But the quality, and this is what I would be when I would sew. I would go and actually to go to companies and I don't want to show the business card here because it's show the company name, but I had a business card, and on it was, director of sales, director of business development, and it said lead, it said certified internal auditor 91,000, on my business card as a salesperson. So I'd go into sales, to enterprise sales, put that in and I'd say, I'm not bluffing here. You know that I know what you do, and I want to know everything you do to understand your specific need, and I want you to explain what you do or what you need for us to be able to give this the quote afterwards. Um, and so that was a heavy. That was just a gold mine to do going with that for sales. And how many people do you know in sales actually have a business card with that on it? I mean, it's kind of surprising. But the thing that I did during those 2 years is I always sold as an extra service, always sold kind of a starter kit. And that starter kit for enterprise stuff, not for like the little 5,000 word website. Okay, I mean that's nothing. That's not. But for everything that's just going to be a big website. It's not so a lot of websites and software localization of, like, I don't want to say what kind of tools and stuff because it could give away the customers' names. Um, but a lot of enterprise stuff. Okay, small and big enterprise. If things have a software that they really want to globalize, or a website they really want to globalize for. I did pharmaceutical, I did telecom, I did banking, I did hospitality. Um, can think of other ones. I mean, they're all on my LinkedIn profile, so they're mentioned there. And there's lots of sector, medical devices, and a lot of things. But the thing is, I would always sell a style guide per language, so English in that language, usually English to other languages. But I was working in France, so I mean, I had French territory. That's what my customers are all French speaking Europe. Okay, so French speaking Europe, but it's always usually from English into other languages. Okay, and it wasn't English French. I mean, I was doing like English to Portuguese, English to Spanish, English to a lot of those things. I mean, and all other languages kind of depended. I actually one had English like 30 languages. Okay, so so it's multiple languages. Usually English is a source. Usually, sometimes French is a source. Um, and and then the issue is I would always sell an English style guide, or the style guide English to that language, or whatever language per language, and that covered all the points. That was the checklist, and I made the each customer approve it, and sign it off as the kickoff, before we did anything else. Okay, then we did a dictionary. Okay, we'd get their content, and then we'd kind of extract out the terms and find depending on how many terms they were willing to pay for. Okay, so I mean it's kind of, and this was an extra service as well. So the style guide had a service, a price, as did the dictionary. It was basically a glossary. It wasn't no definitions. I think just a glossary, source, source and target language, per target language. Um, and sold that. And it was kind of an extraction. It was just you don't want to oversell too much, and you just kind of get at least a bit of it. And then we sold a combination where we use the style guide and use the dictionary to translate example sentences, and that's a service as well. And then you prove the quality part of it is you take the style, you make sure that the way you translate in the example sentences uses both the style guide, issues that come from the style guide, or the issues, the examples that have the points that come, entries that come from the style guide, and which all the preferential stuff. It's all the preferential stuff. Okay, that's what it's all about. Dates and capitalization and where to use capitalization, all this kind of stuff. It's all that, and dates and people's names and all not people's, but just all the branding stuff. Okay, plus then you use the terminology, glossary list, and make sure that you use sentences that have that, the glossary items. You give examples. I can't remember how we used, but I'm not going to say that, how many we did, but we kind of did that, and we packaged that, okay? And I sold that every single time as a starter kit. This is a starter kit, and that was mandatory. Um, Mandatory to the point, it was kind of a mandatory for me to sell that first, okay? And I told customers, my prospects, if you don't do this package, the starter kit, then you will pay for every fix. You will pay for every fix that comes through. And I did have one customer, okay? And I sold that style guide a lot, and it really worked well. And I can tell I got repeat business, repeat business, repeat business, repeat business, repeat business, because they like the quality. And there was one case I do remember where we had an issue with the quality, and I, as a salesperson, I followed my project to the end. Okay, so there was no, I just like hand it over to the people and the localization and do it and do the production, do it, and I followed it. And if there was an issue at any point in that entire process, then the project manager would get back to me, and I, as a salesperson, would make the decision what we do. And they came back to me with a lot of trust. Okay, I qualified my projects really well up front. They got not just this little not this little Excel sheet. They got a document of all the expectations, things that I had already negotiated with the customer up front. All the expectations were set, and I had everything in a document. That document would be used for the demos. It'd be used for all our localization department to the production. Everything was in that document. It was a couple. It was anything between 1 and 5 pages, depending on how complex the project was. Okay, and how complex of all the different tools and things had to be done. And I would do all the architecture stuff. Okay, I would go in and talk to the IT people. I would talk to the marketing people, the IT people, go through and actually document, because I can do all this. And I would make sure, I'm not a stupid salesperson, okay? And so I can do all this. I'm an architect too, so I'd go through and do this, and I would sell it, and we had just top quality, okay? And I sold it for prices. Now, every one of those projects had a price per word, TEP, translate edit proof, for the standard project, okay? If there was ever a need for draft, then I kind of put this up as a special project, and we qualify as a draft project for a specific need and only for specific needs. But that was rare. Everybody wanted the quality, okay? Because I'm focused on marketing content and stuff, websites. And we had that. We had that to the point where it was just bringing back customers, bringing them back because they loved it. Okay. To the day I left the job, I signed a really expensive project. The day I left. Okay. So and I negotiated the whole RFP, and I actually pointed out problems in the RFP of the customer, saying you haven't specified this well enough. You're not being clear about this, and I want to be clear about this. And we won that project because I knew the process underneath from end to end, and I was able to explain that to the customer and where they had things in the RFP that were not even clear. And that just proved the quality. Plus, the business card with ISO 9000 just showed it. So it's like it all is proof in the pudding. But there have been times when I have told customers that I will not. Um, they didn't want to buy the starter kit, okay? And I told them that you will pay for it. You will pay for every fix. And it happened one time, one of my initial projects at that company, um, with a brand name, okay, a really marketing brand name, and they wanted to pay it cheaper. And the result was they came back with a bunch of, bug fixes for stylistic stuff. And I managed that entire thing, every comment on it. as a salesperson. I did be selling. I managed every single one of this, and I said for every point, I qualified them and said style issue, style issue, style issue, style issue. This, and I said this should be in the style guide, style guide, style guide, style guide, style guide, style guide that you didn't pay for. They paid 25% more on top of the above the price of the project to make us do the fixes. Okay, that's how much I told them. You should have listened to me. Then they came back for more business, but with the style guide. Okay, so this is why it's the quality control. And I have always said, as an auditor, okay, quality is always based on measurable things. Always based on measurable things. It is in industry, it's in the software industry, it's in the manufacturing industry. It's all based on measurable things. And in the translation industry, you need some, language industry, you need measurable things. And the measurable things are those things in the style guide. Okay, that's the measurable things. And is the terminology, the glossary list. Those are measurable items. So, and so you can measure it against it, and that's how you determine quality. Um, so that was that for that one example. And then the last example I want to bring up, and this is already we're at 11 minutes here. There was a good one example where a customer or a prospect came to me that I sat down, went through and talked about their needs. It was a online gaming kind of company. And one day they send me literally send me this last minute quote that we haven't been done business yet. They sent me this last quote. If I remember correctly, it was like 25,000 words going from English into Russian off the top of my head. I mean, this is a long time ago. This is like 14, 15 years ago. English to Russian in like 48 hours. And I called him and I said, I won't touch this project because we haven't done a style guide. And you don't want to pay for that extra because they don't want to. Because I kind of, and they send this quote to me, kind of want to test me. And I said, I'm not going to touch this with a 500-foot pole. I won't touch it because it's against my ethics to put us through the crap that you're going to get if you want this, okay? And I said, I'm going to refuse this. And I'll give you the list of companies that will do this, okay, if you want. I'll give you the names. I'll give you the names of the companies that will do this for you. But it should be so bad that you'll be begging me to fix it afterwards. And then you'll be coming running back to me afterwards for the next project. Okay. So and so they went and chose another company. I didn't give them names. They had a list already, and it turned into crap. Okay, it did. And they were back a few months later with a little more serious project. Okay, so what I'd said, it was the advice it was true. So quality, yes, you should embed the quality into the project, but you got to make people pay for it, and that's the clear thing. You don't want to just assume it's there. You show them how much you're going to pay for it, and that's the issue. And I say in some of my videos here about the sale, we got the really bad salespeople out there because they don't want to sell the quality. Okay, and I'll sell different quality between draft. I will sell a drafting for certain purposes, like an archaeology book, that people want to kind of get an idea what it is before they do the real translation. They kind of want to get a gisting of it, to see what the content is. I'm going to sell it really, really cheap. I just want them to get an idea of it. Now we can use MT for this kind of stuff. Okay, I'm an MT guy, so I mean we can use it just to get an idea what the book is about. Okay, give them a quick idea, or like meeting minutes of stuff, meeting agendas. My doctoral studies were using doing an analysis of the European Commission meeting minutes and meeting agenda stuff, and I was analyzing on the post-edit stuff on that and giving how we can fix it, improve that. Okay, improve it, my doctoral thesis. So those concepts are good, and you can sell them for that kind of price, for a certain price. And they have a short life span, and it's perishable information, so it has a certain value there. Okay, and they want to pay the full thing, but they might want to pay for like the book. They want to translate the book later, and they don't want to do a full translation. That's a whole other discussion. But those are limited cases. Some are limited cases, and they need to be sold as limited cases on a case by case basis. Okay, but then when you inject the quality, you I don't want to say inject the quality. When you provide the quality, the salespeople need to qualify the job upfront, just as you said. But I would always qualify upfront. up front, and the expectations were written in a document and approved. And then we did the starter kit project, and that was all approved. All the things were approved. The glossary list was approved. The style guides were approved, and they approved the samples, the example sentences from that. Then we did the actual production project, and that was really successful. That really worked really well, and it just brought back a ton of repeat business. And what it did is it significantly reduced the whole support process behind the scenes, and there were very little errors, and we caught the errors. It was all preventative. Okay, you're talking about preventative and corrective measures. Okay, and the whole thing between quality control and quality assurance. It's the quality control is about corrective measures, and the whole thing about QMS and having the whole quality assurance is like the putting into place a preventative measure kind of process, kind of framework, so that you can avoid it in the future. Um, and this is the way I was putting actually into the operational aspects. We were putting in place these starter kits as preventative measures to be able to ensure that we would reduce the number of support tickets to do fixes. And it really just brought down the whole thing. And what it does is just brought back the customers kept coming back. Okay, so for the prices. Okay, this was not cheap prices. I wasn't trying to undersell stuff. And yeah, when you gotta negotiate, there's some competitors kind of do it. You do it, but you know, um, I just didn't budge on it, and they came back. They just did. So hope that addresses a couple of the points here, and how quality is important, how you can do that in a sales role. This is key. In the quality control, kind of the quality assurance kind of roles, and quality management, QMS, and all that kind of stuff. We preach this, but when you do it on the operational side and the production side, then it needs to come from the business end. And the business end needs to do their part, and their part is selling the quality and selling it with a price that goes with it. Okay, and not trying to undersell and expect the quality to be there. That just doesn't. That's where the kind of the misalignment happens in the dysfunctioning stuff, and then you get the low prices, high quality. It just doesn't work. Okay, it's just not a business model that works. So hopefully that gives some thoughts about that. Thanks for and give me some feedback about it. Okay, thanks.